This pigeon saved an entire army battalion.
Heroes never die.
Introducing our protagonist, Cher Ami, a carrier pigeon who was in the employ of the US Army Signal Corps during World War I. You see, back in the oldie times, radio technology was, kind of dog shit. So carrier pigeons were still the meta for DMing the homies memes over distance. Which is how, in 1918, our feathered little shock trooper here ended up in France, with 500 US soldiers stuck 3 kilometers behind enemy lines, completely cut off from supply and reinforcement in a 7-day shootout. You see, Cher Ami's battalion, juiced up on freedom and red crayons, had overextended and become trapped, surrounded on all sides by German soldiers. And to make matters worse, being stuck behind enemy lines meant they were now on the receiving end of US defense spending, being absolutely hammered with friendly artillery. Now, stuck as far away as they would have had more luck using their radio as fucking nunchucks than a comms device. So they began sending out carrier pigeons in an attempt to tell command to stop fucking shelling them and help on the point. However, the Germans were having none of that shit and shot every single carrier pigeon the battalion sent out of the air like they were running an AIM Labs warm-up. Until only one remained, Cher Ami. Desperate and rapidly running out of soldiers, the battalion wrote a message and attached it to Cher Ami, sending him into the air and watching him sail above the trees. And just when they thought he was clear, some f***ing sweat on the German side nailed him. The battalion watched in horror as their last hope spiraled out of the sky. The bullet tore straight through Cher Ami's center of mass, destroying one eye, punching a hole through his chest, and blowing off one of his legs. And this Giga Chad of an animal tanked it.
Do you have any ibuprofen? I got a headache.
The Marines watched in awe as this mangled pigeon picked itself out of the mud and managed to fly clear of German fire. Cher Ami made it the whole way back to base, delivering the message and saving a total of 194 soldiers. Not only did he get the job done, but he f***ing lived. He was granted one of the highest military honors the French army could provide and sent into retirement with his trainer. And when he eventually did pass several years later, he was preserved and placed in the Smithsonian, where you can go see him today. There he is. Absolute f***ing legend. This bear was actually a soldier. But how? You see, it was 1942, and the 22nd Polish Artillery Company were passing through the mountains of Iran on their way to the front lines to fight the Nazis. While passing through a town on their way, they were stopped by a young Iranian shepherd looking to trade with them for rations and a Swiss Army knife. When the Poles asked what he had to offer in return, the young shepherd produced a burlap sack containing an orphaned Syrian brown bear cub. You see, this bear's mother was shot by hunters, which is how he ended up in a low-tech Pokeball being offered as a trade deal. The Polish looked at the bear and, clearly seeing the potential for insane dad lore, said, "Damn good deal." And in the most worthwhile trade deal in history, parted ways with their supplies in exchange for a f***ing Pokemon, adopting him into their ranks and naming him Wojtek. And the 22nd immediately set about raising this little man as a proper bear and soldier. Maggots! As a baby, they would feed him condensed milk out of an empty vodka bottle, as well as feeding him on the cartoon bear diet consisting of fruit, honey, and marmalade. They also appointed a soldier as his caretaker, who wasted no time in showing Wojtek how to fit in with the rest of the army, teaching Yogi's little cousin to wave, salute, and even march. While not undergoing rigorous military training, Wojtek would hang out with the soldiers. He drank coffee with them in the morning, trained with them in the day, and when they all got shit-faced in the evening, he would f***ing wrestle with them. Do you know how much a brown bear has to love you to wrestle you? On top of double rations, they would also feed Wojtek treats in the form of beer and cigarettes. They let the bear have smoko. Eventually, Army High Command heard about this and were having absolutely none of it. You see, pets were not allowed in the army, which meant Wojtek had to go. Or did he? Because the 22nd Artillery Company officially enlisted him.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Wojtek was given a serial number and granted the rank of private, so when confronted about the very conspicuous bear in their ranks, they simply went, "That's not a bear, that's Private Wojtek." And Wojtek took his new role very seriously, as during the Battle of Monte Cassino in 1944, Wojtek began using his bulk to transport artillery shells and ammo to soldiers engaged in combat. They had a fucking resupply bear. For his bravery, he was promoted to the rank of corporal, and the 22nd changed their insignia to a bear carrying an artillery shell. This absolute unit smoked, drank, and dropped artillery on the Nazis. This SEAL is such a menace that he routinely gets the cops called on him. Introducing our protagonist, Neil the Seal, a 600 kilo absolute unit of a southern elephant seal from my home state of Tasmania in the land down under, who is known for, above all else, being an absolute fucking menace to polite society. But despite his crimes, we all still truly love him. But what are his crimes? Well, see, he seems to just fucking hate traffic cones and road safety in general, has regularly been caught trespassing, and then once he has been caught trespassing, belligerently screaming at locals because they won't give him his fucking fish, and has been known to just block roads by plopping his fat ass down directly in the middle of them. However, hands down, the funniest shit he has ever done was just straight stopping this random lady from going to work. I shit you not. This motherfucker crawled out of the ocean, up the beach, crossed the road, absolutely fucking bodied this woman's poor letterbox, and then proceeded to plant himself directly in front of her fucking car. She was then unable to go to work because this half-ton beefcake was camping her driveway for so damn long. Local news had time to drive out to her house and cover the fucking story. Now, this is a lot of menace for a single SEAL to cause, but the funniest part of this is, old mate isn't even fully grown. He's like 5 years old. If you think he can fuck things up now, wait until he's nearly 2 solid-ass tons of blubber and takes issue with the wall of your house. I do not think that SEAL damage is covered on my fucking insurance plan, dude.